Hey, what is up guys, Smurfy here, and today I'm going to do a quick deck tech on a legacy deck that I've been working on. So I originally found out about this list, my friend was playing it. It's called Turbo Depths. So the idea of the deck is to use, where is it? Dark Depths to create a 2020 as quickly as possible. So you use Dark Depths with a combination of Vampire Hexmage, which removes all the counters from Dark Depths straight away. And when there's no counters on Dark Depths, you sacrifice Dark Depths and you get a 2020 token. It's also got flying and indestructible. So yeah, you can play Dark Depths, somehow get a Hexmage in play, and then just remove the counters, get a 2020. You can do this really quickly, especially with like any acceleration through things like Elvish Spirit Guide. Obviously, Elvish Spirit Guide doesn't allow you to use Hexmage, but there's ways to accelerate your mana various ways. So yeah, that is one way of using Dark Depths, and the other combo is with Thespian Stage. So Dark Depths says when it enters a battlefield, put 10 counters on it. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of the land, but because it's being a copy and not entering the battlefield as a copy, you don't get the counters. So you straight away use Thespian Stage to copy Dark Depths. It has no counters on, and then you sacrifice and get a 2020. So basically the entire deck revolves around Dark Depths, the Vampire Hexmage, and Thespian Stage. And then the rest of the deck is basically just either a way to speed that up, to slow your opponent down, or to tutor for the cards you need. And occasionally there's a little bit of protection. So Hexmage, as we've gone over, is just a combo piece. For Spirit Guide, this is just to give you quicker mana to do things faster. Like you can go turn 1 Dark Depths, turn 2 Thespian Stage, and then like use Elvish Spirit Guide and Lotus Petals, and then just do it on turn 2 at the end of their turn. Untap, and you have a 2020, and you just attack them and kill them. So you can actually kill people on turn 2. And then we have Full Crop Rotation. This just gets you whatever you need. It's instant speed as well, which is very good. And there are a couple of utility lands that you can use. So you can go like, if your opponent's storming off, you can respond by going like Crop Rotation, get Paducah Bog, exile the graveyard, and all of a sudden they can't combo off. And there's also a bunch of other things you can do, like you can use it to get Ghost Quarter if they have a Caracas, because the Dark Depths token is a legendary. They can use Caracas and just bounce it, and now you've just lost 2 lands. Or whatever, like you've lost Dark Depths or maybe a Hexmage as well, and you're very far behind. So if they Caracas it, then you pretty much you've not necessarily lost, but you're very far behind. So yeah, you can sometimes tutor for Ghost Quarter to enable you to protect your token, and there is occasions where you use it Ghost Quarter to blow up your own things, to get another swamp if you need 2 black for Hexmage, but you can also just use Crop Rotation to get an Urborg. 2 Duress, 2 Inquisition, and 4 Thoughtseize, all to interact with your opponent. I don't know what the correct configuration of these is. 4 Thoughtseize I think is fine. Like, your lifestyle isn't really that relevant unless you're against a very aggressive deck. But generally, you play 4 Thoughtseize and then some mixture of Duress and Inquisition. The big difference is Inquisition, of course, like is better against Death and Taxes because it gets a bunch of the small creatures, and Duress is better at getting like bigger spells, like for example in Storm if you want to get like a 5 mana spell. Into the North is again, it just tutors for a land. It gets a snow covered land, so you can get Dark Depths or snow covered forest or snow covered swamp. That's the only cards in the deck you can get. You basically just hope that you have Thespian Stage with Into the North, and then they get you Dark Depths. You can play other things like Expedition Map instead. Expedition Map is 1 mana and then 2 mana to sacrifice it, and then you can get a land out your deck and put it into your hand. Into the North puts it into play straight away, and it costs 1 less mana, so it's a lot faster, but it only gets half the combo. Full Sylvan Scrying, this just gets the land and puts it into your hand. You may have seen this in Tron. It's not amazing because it's paying 2 mana just to put it into your hand, so it generally takes a while to use Sylvan Scrying to win the game, but it is a very consistent card to use because it can get you whatever you need. And then we have 3 Not of This World. So Not of This World was in the Eldrazi sets, so when your opponent target your Eldrazi are huge, so then all of a sudden you can counter it for no mana. It just so happens that our Dark Depths token, Mirage, is a 2020, and that means Not of This World is a 0 mana protection spell. So if your opponent goes to Source to Plowshares, your Mirage, which doesn't seem terrible because you're gaining 20 life, but still you don't want it to die, you just want to one-shot your opponent, so you just Not of This World it, or if they Caracas it, you can Not of This World it. Basically, anytime your opponent is trying to interact with your Mirage, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how everyone I've heard has pronounced it. the 2020. You just use Not of This World to protect it. Some people play 4, some people play 2 or 3. It just varies depending on what you expect to play against. But yeah, that's my choice of protection. I think it's basically just like almost as good as a Force of Will in this deck. Obviously, you can't use it to like counter your opponent, like storming off or whatever. But it's just 0 mana, save my creature, which is amazing. 4 Lotus Petal, just to speed the deck up, and 4 Pithing Needle. So the deck is very, very weak to Wasteland and Karakas, and both of those can just get Pithing Needled. Obviously, you can't stop them from using it for mana, but you can stop Wasteland from blowing up your lands, stop Karakas from bouncing your Mirror Age. Anything else? Occasionally, you can use it on things like Deathrite Shaman, so your opponent can't get above 20 life. So because you're hitting your opponent for 20, sometimes they'll use Deathrite Shaman to get up to 21 or 22 life, and then you have to hit them again, and they might find an answer. But generally, it's just for Karakas and Wasteland. Then we have 1 Sylvan Library. So the deck, obviously, we're playing green, so it doesn't have great card draw. We do play black as well, but Sylvan Library is just a very good card draw spell. And then we're playing 23 land. 2 Bayou, a Bajuka Bog, again for crop rotation, to tutor up for if you're against Reanimator. Sometimes they cast a Reanimate spell and you just go crop rotation, get Bajuka Bog, and you just wipe them out. 4 Dark Depths combo, Ghost Quarter again to blow up their Wastelands, to blow up their Karakas, and occasionally to blow up your own land to get a swamp if you need double black for Hexmage. Sajiri Step is, so when it enters the battlefield, it gives a creature you control protection from the colour of your choice until end of turn. So if your opponent has a bunch of Lingering Souls tokens or some random crappy flying creature like a Delver of Secrets, you can just tutor for this. You can use like crop rotations or Sylvan Scrying, get Sajiri Step, play it, give you Mirage protection from blue. Their Delver can't block and you kill them. It's basically just used to make your creature unblockable for the turn, because sometimes they can just build up enough random crappy flying creatures and just chump it, because Mirage doesn't have trample. So yeah, you can use that again just to get 3 creatures. And I have no idea how to pronounce this. Shizo Death Storehouse is basically the same thing. You give Mirage Fear, and then you try to get in that way. So whichever one you need, they're both just there to do the same thing. 1 Snow-Covered Forest and 1 Snow-Covered Swamp. Sorry. These are to fetch Weeping Verdant Catacombs, because sometimes you have to play around Blood Moon, because Blood Moon is a real... It really hoses the deck. So you play 1 of each basic. These can be fetched with Verdant Catacombs, and they can also get fetched with your Into the North. So if for whatever reason you needed a swamp, or maybe you used Elvish Spirit Guide to cast the Sylvan, to cast it into the North, then you can then get a permanent green source. We then have 4 Thespian Stage, already mentioned. 3 Urborg. So Urborg is really powerful in this deck because we have 4 Dark Depths, which just do not tap for mana. And so if you're playing your Dark Depths, you've used the card in your hand, used your land drop for turn, and you still don't have anything that actually produces mana. So if you go turn 1 Dark Depths, you can go turn 2 Urborg, use the Urborg and the Dark Depths to both tap for black and cast a Hexmage. That sounds really niche, but that is a pretty common line in this deck because you've just got loads of tutoring. Yeah, so that's great. And then we also play 4 Verdant Catacombs. This is to get your Bayous when you need them, and it also helps you play around Blood Moon, because you can use the Blooming Marsh, which is the green-black fast land. A lot of people have been using that for budget reasons, but that is so much worse against Blood Moon, because if you know your opponent could be playing Blood Moon, and you have the luxury of playing around Blood Moon, then it's always better to get basics, assuming that you don't screw yourself over with mana. So yeah, you can use that, go get like a forest and a swamp, or some combination of anything that can blow up a Blood Moon, depending on what you play to blow up Blood Moon. So that is the deck. The sideboard I've currently got, this is not like set in stone or anything, this is just what I've been testing with. So we've got 4 Chalice of the Void. This is good against burn aggressive decks. It's great against Storm. Sometimes you can just use it on 0 and the Lotus Petals and Lion's Eye Diamond don't work, or they can't cast them. It just comes in against a lot of decks. It's really good against like Brainstorm decks sometimes. So yeah, we're just playing 4 Chalice. 1 Karakas. This is for Reanimator. When they play Grizzlebrand, you can just bounce it. You can use it against Venser if you're playing against Miracles. I don't think you really want it for that matchup. That's probably a bad example. You can use it in the mirror. There's quite a few legendary creatures that you do need to bounce in Legacy. And then we've got 2 Natural State. This is like a tribute to Blood Moon, because Blood Moon is very difficult to deal with. You need to be able to answer it, and not only, like, Abrupt Decay is a very good answer to Blood Moon. However, you need a swamp and a forest to do this, and that is quite difficult to set up. So we play 2 Natural State. This is just 1 green mana, so if you know you're against a Blood Moon deck, you can always get a forest first, and now you have Natural State to answer Blood Moon. It also blows up a bunch of random other artifacts, obviously, but that is pretty much in there personally for Blood Moon, because that card hoses this deck so badly. We also play 1 Surgical Extraction. This is just like a one-off that I had space for, and I just think it's a very good card. You can bring it in against lots of different matchups. If your opponent's playing Swords to Plowshares, it's very difficult to power through a bunch of them if they keep drawing them. Sometimes you'll combo off. You don't have this Not of This World or anything, and you just need to hope they don't have a Swords to Plowshares, and they do. You gain 20 life, and you can start to rebuild and play your lands again and enable the combo. But when they start having like the second Swords to Plowshares, it's very, very difficult to deal with, because you've just spent so many resources making these 20/20s, and they've just got 1 white mana. Get rid of it. So after the first Swords to Plowshares, you can use Surgical Extraction. You don't have to deal with it anymore. I've had games where I've played against like white decks, and they've like Swords to Plowshares my creatures, like my Mirage, like 3 times, and I'm up to like 60 life. And although they're not killing me, I'm starting to run out of ways to actually kill them. So 1 Surgical Extraction is good against Swords to Plowshares. It's good against Storm, Dredge, anything, basically any deck that uses the same like 1 very key component card. You can just Surgical Extraction. For Abrupt Decay, this is to kill Blood Moon, and then just pretty much anything you don't want to have to deal with in Legacy. There's a lot of things, and Abrupt Decay is just a great catch-all. 2 Steely Resolve. So if you haven't seen this card, it's 1 green, 1 colorless enchantment. When it comes into play, choose a creature type, and that chosen creature type has... Okay, so it actually has Shroud. I thought it was hexproof, but it's Shroud. It does the same thing. So you make Mirage, and now all of a sudden they can't Swords to Plowshares it because you name Avatar. They can't Caracas it. There's no way they can interact with it. So yeah, that's basically in there. If your opponent has too many ways to remove your Mirage, whatever, you just play this and you protect it. And then we're playing 1 Not of This World again, just as another spell to protect your token. So that is the deck. I'm going to be playing this in an upcoming Legacy event, so that's the reason I'm doing a deck on it. I am hoping to get as many games as I can with it. I've already been playtesting it a bunch, but the only problem is that I have a fairly small Legacy playtesting group. And although we can proxy up decks and things, I think Legacy is one of those formats where you need to be very, very good with your deck. And although you can build like proxy gauntlets and be like, yeah, I'll build up Miracles and Reanimator and all these different decks, it's very difficult to become very good with all of these decks. And if you're not very good with the deck, then it's very hard for your friends to test against you. So I can't just say, for example, Miracles is a very, very difficult deck to play. I can't just print it out, proxy it up, and get one of my friends to play it, and I'll playtest the matchup over and over and over, because although I might get a taste for what it's like in the matchup, I won't actually know what the matchup is like for someone that's very experienced playing Miracles, because it's such a hard deck to play, to a very high level at least. So I was thinking about building this deck on Magic Online and then playtesting it. However, it is like 400 tickets, which is quite a lot for a deck that I just want to test for 1 event, and then maybe we'll go from there if I do want to start playing it as like my main Legacy deck. So I was wondering what you guys want to see. So if you guys want to actually see me play some leagues with this deck, then leave in the comment section. Also, if you don't actually care and you don't want to see it, then let me know as well. And then because there's only so much money that I can allocate to Magic Online, and then if you guys don't want to see this deck and you'd rather see Modern or Standard or Draft or Cube or whatever, then you guys let me know. So if you guys want to see this deck online, then let me know. If you guys don't, also let me know. It's completely up to you guys. Like, I'm not fussed either way. I would like to test the deck, but there are quite a few cards that I just don't want to have to spend the money on. But if you guys were all very excited to see the deck, then I'd be more than happy to. That would just give me another incentive to... For example, I just don't have any Verdant Catacombs or any Dark Depths. That's just like 130 tickets on its own. And Chalice of the Void, another card that I have no need for this in any other deck on my Magic Online account, because basically all the cards in this deck except Thoughtseize and Inquisition, I just have no need for in any other deck. Yeah, I don't actually think there's any... Oh, and Abrupt Decay. So out of the entire 75, there's like maybe 9 cards or 10 cards or whatever that I actually need. So that's the reason I'm a little bit off put the deck. So if you want to see it, let me know. If you don't want to see it, let me know. Thanks for watching, and peace. Bye.